The episode begins on June 14, 2015, when concerned neighbor Lacey calls 911 to report that Dee Dee's house is unresponsive. When Lacey mentions that her neighbor has written some horrible and dismal things on her Facebook page, she begs the cops to arrive quickly. While all is going on, Mel, Dee Dee's mother, peeks through a window to see whether anything horrible has happened. The sound of the police sirens can be heard in the background as she looks at the empty house. The investigators eventually enter Dee Dee's home, where they find her horribly stabbed body in the master bedroom. They inform Lacey and her mother, who are now concerned about Gypsy, Dee Dee's daughter. The program then jumps 7 years. Dee Dee resides in a new Habitat for Humanity house with her ill and wheelchair-bound daughter Gypsy Rose. After Hurricane Katrina destroyed their old house in Springfield, Louisiana, in 2005, the two moved into a new neighborhood there in 2008. The head of Gypsy is shaved by Dee Dee in the following scene in the kitchen sink. Dee makes a pharmaceutical mixture as they converse and uses a long tube to inject Gypsy with it. Later on, Dee Dee sings her daughter a lullaby and forces her to go to bed with a sleep apnea machine on. After putting Gypsy to bed, Dee Dee takes a few pills for herself, including Sleepy Baby. They receive an unexpected visit from their neighbor Lacey the next day. Dee Dee grudgingly agrees to give Gypsy a makeover when she offers it. Gypsy reveals that her father teased her about her gait when she was a youngster, as the two girls became closer throughout the makeover. Dee Dee had been paying careful attention to the girls' talk the entire time. To Gypsy's dismay, she takes sure to wipe off all the makeup afterwards. The mother-daughter team makes the decision to step outside and mingle with new neighbors the next morning. They initially encounter Lacey and her boyfriend Mel cleaning their car. Dee Dee visits Mel, Lacey's mother, who is relaxing with Shelley. When the three of them discuss parenting, Dee Dee is constantly citing her daughter's illnesses, including paraplegia, epilepsy, anemia, and a heart murmur. Shelley and Mel are in awe of Dee Dee's fortitude to care for her helpless child. When Lacey offers Gypsy a drink of Coke, the mom's conversation comes to an abrupt end. Gypsy has a sugar allergy, Dee Dee announces as she instantly goes over to her kid and informs everyone. Dee Dee brings Gypsy to the mall the following day. Gypsy begs her mother to purchase a blue necklace, but instead of doing so, she places the chain inside Gypsy's purse. She doesn't notice her neighbor Mel staring at her until the very last second. Dee Dee attempts to chat to Mel in the evening, but he just ignores her. In order to purchase Mel's silence, Dee Dee thus organizes a party at her home and invites everyone in the neighborhood. Gypsy uses her mother's laptop to perform searches for best friend and boyfriend kiss, then deletes the history before her mother arrives home. The scene shifts to the celebration, where a sizable crowd has assembled. Everyone is having a good time in the yard, and Dee Dee is talking to each person individually. Gypsy decides to eat a cupcake at that precise moment, which might be catastrophic for her. Everyone is shocked by this and wonders how much hardship Dee Dee has gone through to take care of her ill baby. Gypsy hears the doctor inform Dee Dee that she is not allergic to sweets when she awakens in the hospital. As they leave, Mel is waiting outside to deliver Dee Dee's pocketbook that she left at the gathering. Dee Dee expresses gratitude and regrets that she does not want to be perceived as a lady with a negative reputation because of her background. Mel also admits that she has had a difficult history, so it seems sense that she would offer to start again. Dee Dee discovers a cache of checks addressed to Claudine Blanchard, who could be Gypsy's true name, while Gypsy drifts off to sleep. Gypsy wakes up less than an hour later, when her mother is still asleep, and turns off her machine to get out of bed. Up until this point, Gypsy had been confined to a wheelchair. She then makes her way to the kitchen to prepare her EpiPen while eating whipped cream. But when she licks a few, there is no surprise. It comes out that her mother had lied when she said that she was allergic to sweets. She is astonished to discover her mother awake when she gets back to her room, and she yells angrily for her to get back to bed. Another night, Gypsy enjoys a container of icing and a Coca-Cola beverage while sitting in front of her laptop and watching YouTube beauty tutorials. Gypsy has been awarded the community's Child of the Year, and Dee Dee tells her daughter this wonderful news when she wakes up the next morning. As she becomes enthused, she observes Gypsy's dental issues. Dee Dee takes her daughter to see their pediatrician, Dr. Harley, as soon as she has the suspicion that there may be an underlying issue. When they see the doctor at the hospital, Dee Dee believes that Gypsy's acid reflux has returned and is damaging her teeth. Dr. Chandra advises Dee Dee to schedule an emergency dental consultation in the scene that follows. The doctor becomes concerned because Dee Dee wants to address her daughter's acid reflux first. Dee Dee responds that Gypsy's medical records were destroyed following Hurricane Katrina when she requests them. Dee Dee whisks her kid away before the doctor can speak. Dr. Harley is then questioned by Dr. Chandra about whether he has verified Gypsy's whole medical history, but he is unable to respond. Dee Dee and Gypsy are then seen waiting in their car outside a drugstore after this. Dee Dee unexpectedly pulls out the writing pad she had taken and writes several fake prescriptions on it. The investigators look at Dee Dee's stab wounds in the present. Lacey believes that Gypsy may have been the target rather than her mother. She also tells the cops about every underlying condition Gypsy has. Gypsy fully loses one of her teeth while cleaning them in 2009, according to the movie. She whimpers in agony as the gory mess is left in the sink. Her mother begins giving her additional needless drugs as a result. After some time, Dee Dee brings Gypsy to Lacey's house where she is visiting with her friends. Gypsy confesses to going out to consume sweets at night as one of the girls notes her poor teeth while the group chats about unimportant issues. Dr. Chandra isn't prepared to abandon her concerns. She contacts different hospitals to find out more about Gypsy's medical background. Allison, a representative from the Child Protection Services, shows up at Dee Dee's home when she finally makes a call to them. When Dee Dee notices this, she jumps into action and gives Gypsy sleeping drugs to make her appear ill. As she makes her introduction, Allison scans the house. Dee Dee tells her when she begs for Gypsy that her kid has the mental capacity of a 7-year-old. Soon after, Dee Dee hides in the doorway while Allison has a private conversation with the sedated Gypsy. She continually questions the young child to see whether she is alright. Gypsy, however, seems bewildered and lightheaded as she speaks, supporting her mother's assertions. Allison then asks Dee Dee why the name on her social security card and her address don't match, but as usual, the mother cites Hurricane Katrina as an explanation. Allison makes the decision to leave at this point because she didn't discover any unusual activities throughout her visit. Dee Dee then takes Gypsy to the dentist so that she may get her teeth pulled. She is given anesthesia, and when she awakens, most of her teeth are missing. The little girl sobs when she sees herself in the mirror, her mouth swollen with tears. Later, Gypsy tells her mother that she will not be attending her Child of the Year award ceremony because she does not want to display her current state in front of others. Dee Dee is only enraged by this, and she exclaims that Gypsy is attending the gathering. Then, we are moved to the award ceremony, where Dee Dee is getting her daughter ready for the major occasion. Additionally, she provides some dentures for Gypsy to use while performing. Her name is eventually announced on stage to receive the Child of the Year honor. The award also includes a $5,000 cash contribution. After collecting the check, Dee Dee is unable to control her joy as the audience applauds for them. After giving a moving statement, she and Gypsy spontaneously start singing "I'll Be There." Despite Dee Dee's resistance, Dr. Chandra calls to check on Gypsy and is able to schedule an appointment. Gypsy and Dee Dee return to the hospital in the evening for their meeting with Dr. Chandra. The doctor is able to speak with Gypsy alone in her room and attempts to persuade her that she isn't allergic to sweets. She gives Gypsy a can of Coke, but out of respect for her mother, she declines to take it. Just then, Dee Dee shows in, causing the doctor to put the can aside and begin inspecting Gypsy. Cops are still looking around Dee Dee's house in 2015 for any signs of the murder. Later, Lacey informs the group of Gypsy's hidden Facebook account, which she believes Gypsy had set up to meet people. The movie then jumps back to 2011 once again. Dee Dee receives all of the donations to her daughter's purportedly ill GoFundMe page. Gypsy is still slipping out of bed at night to watch YouTube videos about cosplaying and kissing. Next, she applies cosmetics to her mother as she gets ready for Fantastigan, a cosplay convention. Dee Dee answers the girl at the desk while she is checking in at the event that her daughter was born in 1995. Gypsy is perplexed by this because she has always believed that she was born in 1993. The two soon encounter Shelley and her boyfriend at the function. One of the neighbors recognizes Dee Dee and makes an effort to set her up on a date. But Dee Dee changes the topic and requests to go to the bathroom. Gypsy approaches a man who is dressed as Wolverine. The two start a conversation about their favorite Marvel heroes when he introduces himself as Scott. Then Scott accepts when Gypsy asks him to visit the DeLorean from Back to the Future. Fortunately, they are allowed to join the battle. Gypsy is placed on one of the seats by Scott, and they enjoy each other's company. Sadly, the fun doesn't continue long since Dee Dee interrupts and drags Gypsy away to go home. In an effort to catch Dee Dee's attention, Russ comes up again at the same moment and reveals that he, too, had a kid who was in a wheelchair before he passed away. Gypsy slips out once again to create a Facebook account after they get home and get into bed in the hopes of seeing Scott there. She examines her mother's pocketbook after being confused about her birth date once more. She was shocked to learn that she was actually born in 1991, making her 19 years old. She borrows some money from her mother after being upset by her falsehoods. Gypsy quietly purchases a smartphone the next day at a petrol station. The unexpected call Dee Dee receives from Russ in the following scenario prompts her to inquire as to how he obtained her phone number. Gypsy, in the meantime, begins speaking with Scott on her new phone while describing her medical workers as her pals. Russ keeps calling Dee Dee, but when he offers to help her with her ill kid, their budding romance is put on hold. Dee Dee doesn't want anyone around her who may expose her falsehoods. On the other side, Scott and Gypsy have become close as well. She makes a subtle implication that she wishes to flee with him. In case he wishes to send her a present, she also provides her address. He surprises her with a gift containing a red Ariel wig. One day, Lacey notices Gypsy grinning at her phone and inquires as to what's going on. The little girl shares everything with everyone, unlike her mother. Scott is mentioned, and she calls him Prince Charming. Before leaving, she also shares with Lacey the existence of her covert Facebook account, which goes by the name of Emma Rose. Later that evening, Scott leaves Gypsy a voicemail explaining that he is unable to speak since he is in the hospital's emergency room. Gypsy is concerned about this and rushes to the hospital. When Scott first meets her, he is shocked to realize that Gypsy is capable of standing. When Dee Dee returns home and awakens, she discovers that her daughter is not there at the residence. Then she discovers a message Gypsy left, informing her that she is leaving with her Prince Charming and won't be returning. Scott brings Gypsy to his home in another location. She applies an ice pack to his injuries while appearing content to be at home with her Prince Charming. They start kissing after a while of talking, but Dee Dee at the door breaks it off. Dee Dee begs her daughter to come home and confesses that while she was away, she almost had an anxiety attack. Gypsy hesitantly agrees to go back after hearing her mother. Dee Dee informs Scott that Gypsy is only 14 years old before she departs. Dee Dee pushes her daughter back into the wheelchair once they get home by yanking her daughter's red hair.